Good evening, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is David Okun. Thank you so much for attending, for being part of this family. We are talking about money given by the United Kingdom government to people who need the money. This is a continuation of the other video. Watch this video alongside the other video, and I'm so grateful for your watching the videos and subscribing to this channel, and also sharing with family and friends, clicking notification bell, clicking like, and leaving comments, positive and even negative comments. If it is done respectfully, it is warmly welcome. There's one thing everybody don't tolerate is disrespect. Fortunately, in the course of this program, I've had a lot more respect than disrespect. So I'm so happy. Let us look at the government of the United Kingdom, its policy on how it helps its people who need help with money. And this money is given to people who need it, and it is not paid back. It is called benefit. I've been talking about the main one, known as the universal credit. And if you watch the rest of the video for it to make sense, this is a continuation. And so we are looking at how the government make decisions on the benefit, and so it used a list of statements to decide how difficult you find the activity in each question. This is actually to do with sickness benefit, because there are different elements of benefit. And one of the things I've been talking about is how complex the system is, and I have actually proposed that in practice the law and policy can be complicated, but in practice I believe it can be simplified. The process of accessing and maintaining benefit can be made more accessible. And it has to be done because the government needs to change its primary objective of giving benefit to get the British people out of poverty using benefit, child benefit included, because there are different types of benefit. You give to children, you give to adults, you give to pensioners, as the state pension or even work pension. I think work pension is also supported indirectly or directly by the government. And there are other sick payment, like statutory sick pay from employers. I think these are also, I'm not sure, but I think it's supported directly in terms of funding by government giving one or other help. Because, you know, private companies do not give help without the government supporting its activities, like we see with energy company, water company, and sometimes also food, something called food banks. I think it's funded through public bodies and or even a non-profit organization, which are in another form of actual government, which is actually more private, though funded by the government or providing public service. This is the nature of our economy and also the politics, the policy which I've been talking about. Continue watching. When getting a benefit for sickness, something I said a lot about already in the other videos. I'm just trying to talk about it so that people who watch this video understand roughly what happened. Visit gov.uk if you live in the United Kingdom. Visit gov.uk to access this information, and also other sources of information within the non-profit organization, the charitable organization, like Citizen Advice, public website. You can go there. You can go to other. The reason I mentioned Citizen Advice a lot because it is the biggest advice service in the United Kingdom, also of its kind, because it's a non-government. It's a charity. I would say charitable because it's registered with the Company House, so it's probably a company limited by grantee. Which in other words is a voluntary organization. It's not a statutory body. It's a non-statutory body, which means it's kind of like independent from the government. So these are actually the organization which can help the government. The government bodies also from the Department of Work and Pension, and also from the local authorities. Also potentially there's also help, but you hear the rest of the video. I'm speaking about lack of resources, which is common. I will be repeating these points because they are central to anything. It provides logic or even sensibility to what I'm trying to do. Thank you so much. Continue watching. So in the process of claiming sickness benefit, you fill out an application form, and there are guidelines to fill out this application form. There's something called descriptors. These are statements, also actually a list of statements to decide how difficult you find the activities in each question. There are different types of questions. In each question, the government asks detailed question about activity because the sickness is actually assessed in terms of how they affect how you live your life, and also how you do your work. And this is actually, you may be sick in one way or the other, but it doesn't matter really that you are sick at all in terms of the policy. What matters is how it affects you. So they assess the impact of the sickness on your life by actually asking specific questions about what you do and what you don't do, what you're able to do, what you're not able to do, the activity, specific activity which are actually listed in different elements of the question. There are questions you need to answer while doing. It's a very exciting exercise. It's long and complex in my opinion, and it's best if you need help. If somebody you know needs help, help them to answer the question in the application form as much as you can, and that's how you begin the process of claiming the benefit. The benefits are there, but if you're eligible, you do the eligibility assessment, which I've already discussed in other videos. And once you feel you might be entitled to the benefit, you then begin the process of claiming. I've already also discussed part of the process, and I've been repeating some of it also, because to make sure people really get familiarized with what goes on. So the Department of Work and Pension will look at every question you answer, and we will check your answer if your answer actually matches the descriptors. The descriptors are actually the question, and the question which actually help to describe your condition, your health condition, and also the broad issues surrounding your health and disability. Maybe the doctors, the medication you take, the side effect, how it affects you. Because also, if you are sick, the sickness actually affects how you live, or how you work, the activities you undertake, and the treatment, including medication, also affect you. So, any form of activity or the type of aids you use. Maybe you're physically needing to use extra aid to walk or to do whatever, or maybe you get help with being bathed or being, being supported to put on your clothes or take it off. All these details are actually questions which are actually descriptors, and the assessment period, the assessment process will involve the Department of Work and Pension checking every single question and answer to see if they actually correlate. So if the descriptor matches your answer, so if you answer correctly, then you get more points. I've already gone through the point system. I will be going through it again going forward because this information are actually integrated, they are repeatable, there's no offense in it. And what this program is important for is if you need information where you should go. I'm just trying to go through this to discuss what I believe is income issue to do with poverty, and also raising the issue of policy where I believe the UK government should use benefit system and employment to get the British people out of poverty. This is the primary aim. I hope somewhere, somehow, somebody somewhere will support this process so that the British politicians and the government will begin the process of getting the British people out of poverty through benefit and employment, because these are actually the primary sources of income for many people in the country. Benefit and work. Work may involve employment or self-employment. To put it broadly, because I may in the future talk about employment in fair details. So in the process of looking at your application form, the Department of Work and Pension are trying to look at the descriptors, which some of these descriptors may mean, you don't have to work or prepare for work, like I said somewhere else already. And in this situation, this state of affairs, this context is called limited capability for work-related activity, which means you don't have to work because you are very sick. You don't have to prepare for work or do work-related activity. This is what how they describe it, work-related activities. This may be training or preparing for work in other ways, maybe doing workshops, learning how to write CV, how to do interview, employability training, functional skills, or all sorts of things. Maybe you could even be sent to do a work experience. These are actually work-related activities. But work experience may be excluded under certain circumstances. I'm not sure what circumstances it is, but I would suspect work experience will be excluded if you are limited capability for work, which is actually the other aspect of the descriptors. If the descriptors is otherwise to suggest that you are sick but you can do activities related to work, then you will get something called limited capability for work. The difference is limited capability for work. You are not very sick. You are sick, but you are sick enough to do work-related activity. So you get work-related limited capability for work. You're not required to work, but you are required to do work-related activity. Limited capability for work-related activity means you're sick enough and you are not required by the Department of Work and Pension to look for work or to work at all. So those two elements give you limited capability for work-related activity, and with that, you could actually get extra money with your claim. Your claim is more likely than not to be universal credit, but it could also be new style employment support allowance. Thank you for watching. for watching. So let us continue looking at the descriptors, which are actually questions which actually there are questions aimed at determining how sick or unsick you are, or how severely or less sick you are. So sometimes if you don't get limited capability for work, the Department of Work and Pension will check which of the other descriptors you match. The other descriptors, each descriptor has a number of points. The more difficult you find that activity, the more points you might get. So descriptors actually try to describe. Descriptors come from the word description, describing the activity. So the essence of filling out this form is to be an expert on describing things, which a lot of people in this country are good at. Not all of them, but because some people in this country do not know English, they don't speak English. So those are some of the issues with this process. And normally need experts, almost, people who are highly experienced in benefit, or the law or benefit, or policy or benefit, and the Department of Work and Pension. But the Department of Work and Pension is not independent, so normally they provide advice and support. But the best way to get advice and support is to go to organizations like Citizen Advice in the United Kingdom, who are independent. They are also impartial, because they are impartial because they concentrate their objective on advising you. They are not really they are not dependent on anybody. They are not. They are loyal to themselves and to their client. So they are impartial in that sense. So they don't prejudice. They are open-minded, that kind of thing. And in practice, and also by way of record, Citizen Advice get a lot of people, because they are so big. They're up and down the country, in England, Wales, and Northern Ireland also, and I think in Scotland and Northern Ireland. But the rules also in terms of local authorities, the rules also in Scotland and Northern Ireland is slightly different from the ones in England and Wales. So this is some of the information you will know, because the point about this exercise is that there are transferable information in terms of also skills and knowledge you find while talking about one set of government policy and guidelines. And also, if you are trying to look for other things within the local authority, it's really good to say, because you are supposed to be independent of the government, because the government is actually trying to now set the British people free, and making sure they are empowered, they are looking after themselves. The government, is trying to now close down and let the British people get on with their life, and this with children, with adults, with pensioners, with elderly. It's going to put a lot of responsibilities on a lot of people in the United Kingdom, and this is actually a phenomenon going global. What happened in the UK happens across the world. So it is so important that what happens here is paid attention to, especially if you are in Africa, because if you live in Africa now, you know how things are changing in schools, hospitals. If you don't have money, you will probably die anyway in Africa of malaria or any slight illness is almost a death sentence in Africa. Because although Africa is mainly funded by Europe, IMF and the World Bank, most of the money are actually directed towards building capital and infrastructure like roads and things, which is good. But what people need is actually access to service, health service, which is free at the point of use, especially in Africa. It's so illogical that you find European powers funding Africa and really restricting African governments. And the other things in Africa is corruption with dictators and non-dictators. I don't know who are dictators and who are not dictators in Africa. because there seem to be dictatorship almost now everywhere. Dictators from the law and also from military, in my opinion. And you find dictatorship because of policy, also keeping people in poverty is a form of dictatorship also, because people become so desperate, so weak, and so scared. Like in the developed world now, more and more people are actually so afraid, and more will be losing their jobs to artificial intelligence, especially artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is actually focused on the expanding of digitization of the economy, which is machines are taking over to run the world, taking away work from people who need work, and that will create unemployment. And people of interest who now promote the idea of capitalism may say something else, but believe me that people will be excluded from accessing wealth, literally, as soon as machine takes over. So it's time now, while listening to this process, to also talk about other things, like broader outlook, how life goes on, and also how you prepare your life. You need to look after yourself in terms of developing yourself, going into library. You can go on to the street and start selling drugs and killing people or getting killed, but that will be wrong. The right thing to do is stay away from trouble. And if you are a young person, if you're a child, you are an adult, you are supposed to entertain yourself, but you have to be aware of the risk. Nobody wants you to die, because you see, there is a lot of violence on the increase, but it is insidious, which means you don't really see it coming. You don't know what hits you. People are being killed on the street, and they don't realize how dangerous the street is. Children are being killed in parks, and they're taking drugs. They are behaving very, very badly. Increasingly, the discipline is on the rise, because the human wrong has actually come to full fruition. We will not allow that to happen. Good people out there, speak out, and we will not go out quietly, and we are not going anywhere. If you are a wrong person out there listening to this, don't think you have won. We may suffer now, but if you are right, nobody is perfect. What I'm saying people who are sensible, who prioritize, who put humanity as a priority. And we speak, and the world listens because we are right. You may deny us our rights. You may hide behind certain laws and policies to prevent us from speaking, because that is why you are a violent person. You abuse the law, you abuse policy, you abuse wealth to oppress people who are doing the right thing for humanity. But this is a message for you. If you're a wrong person and you are listening to this, you can triumph for a while. There are people who have developed a dangerous hatred for humanity. They are killing people. I mean, if you are killing people directly or indirectly, you keep the British people out of poverty. Your time is coming to an end. Because you see, we, the people of this country or the people around the world, may not have power now. But our power is in our mouth. We speak, we think, we believe. Even if we don't speak with our mouth, our minds are actually speaking. Our dreams are speaking. Our bodies are speaking in silence. We will win. Wrong people should stop now. If you're in government and you are an influence to keep the British people in poverty, keeping American people, keeping Asians, African in poverty, the day is over. We must get out of poverty today, wherever we are. We speak with our mouth or with our minds. However we speak, we will have the last say. And I take this situation very seriously, and every good people of the world take it seriously, and we are working on it. We are going to win, because we must win. It is our life, it is our survival, and this is why I'm talking. And if I stop talking here, the winds and the trees will speak truth to power. That means if you are in the wrong place at the wrong time and you are in power and you are actually an adversary of the human species, do not be comfortable. be distressed. It doesn't matter how rich you are, whether you are a multimillionaire, multi-billionaire, oppress the people for now. But in the end, life is how you finish, not how you start. Right people will win. Because you see, injustice is wrong, violence is wrong, people are fighting in the Middle East, they are wrong. And they must stop fighting everywhere. Economic warfare must stop. Keeping people deliberately into poverty will fail. Do not waste your time being brutal, being violent, being nasty, by keeping poor people poor, pretending to like rich people. Rich people, you don't like them. Because if they are rich people, if they are wealthy people and they are humans, their instinct is to support fellow humans. If you are confusing them because maybe you are an alien or something went wrong, you became a monster and you are in power, your days are numbered. It doesn't matter how long it takes. Humanity will triumph, will take up the last say. And this is what I have said all along, and I will continue to say. And this is the purpose for my doing anything on this platform. If I don't do it here, I will do it elsewhere. Thank you so much for watching. Let us carry on. So let us come back and continue talking about this money and the conditions for accessing the money. So if you don't get limited capability for work, the Department of Work and Pension will check which of the other descriptors you match, and each descriptor has a number of points. The more difficulty you find in terms of activity you perform, the more difficult, the more points you get. It's a point-based system, which I totally disagree with. It's a totally complicated process, but others try to get through to illustrate the complexity involved in this. But also, if you really need help genuinely, you can get it. Do your best to get it. And as long as it's still there, because it is shutting down anyway, because the public sector is shutting down, as I said. If somebody else want it, you help them, and but you can also do exercise to learn. Learn as much as you can. The more knowledge you have, the more, because you are a participant. As a human being, you make choices. You are a participant. You know, this is your heritage. The house is yours. And you have to take this point. You should be proud of yourself. It doesn't matter how oppressed you are. Because you see, and the government has never been there to be a good instrument, unless they are good. The government is as good as it is good. Otherwise, you see, anything designed to rule over you is a bad thing. So the government is a temporary mechanism. We will get rid of the government. And if we are to have a government, we have it on our terms to suit our interests. The current system of government, anywhere, this is nothing to do with the United Kingdom or a one country, because this is a global thing. And globalization did not start today. It has always been there as an idea. And it is now coming to fruition, or rather the fruit is nasty. And is a failing system, which is a very dangerous system, because we have done a lot of wrong things to develop a system which is very toxic. I mean, you don't need to hear it from me. You look at the wars. Why are people fighting? I mean, you ask yourself, why are people killing each other on the street? Because we are insane. The culture has destroyed us. It is destroying us. But we have a chance to change the way we think, and we will do that. Because someone like me speaking, I am not perfect, but I know what is right for humanity. And if you know what is right for humanity, I'm not even talking about environmental protection. There are people who campaign for the environment who are actually wicked because they don't think about people in the process of talking about environmental protection. In terms of talking about growth and development, they talk like wicked people. I'm not sure they are wicked, but they practice wickedness. You leave a comment below your definition of wickedness. Because everything done on the earth has to center on people first. Wealth and technology is not is for people. People is not for wealth and technology. Environment is for people. People is not for environment. I know there are people who love the environment so much. So am I. But I love humans more. You see some environmentalists, you see government policies, they talk about climate change. Climate change is not, it's for people. People are not for climate change. It means people come first. You have to invest to make sure people come out of poverty first before you start investing in space, in technology. I mean, if it's good enough for individuals to be multimillionaires and multi-billionaires, it's good enough for at least the rest of the population to get out of poverty. We cannot have billionaires and millionaires existing in the world and all the rest of the population are languishing in poverty, especially in Africa. This should stop and will, because we are humans and humans are here to stay. The best way to stay to renew our culture. Our culture is about respect, respecting people, valuing people first and valuing other things. If you talk about economic growth, you talk about environmental protection, we will have spoken about humans first. Humans must get out of poverty today. Humans cannot be, if you look at certain you look at certain programs about nature, you don't see human beings, you only see animals, trees, and butterflies. It's actually humans don't live in those lands, especially in Africa. Especially if you see some European journalists or explorers going to Africa to look at animals. They seem to love animals more than people. I mean, if you are from Europe and you don't love Africans because they are Africans, then you're deluded. Because you see, Africans are humans. If you are African, you come to Europe, you think you don't like the people in Europe and you only like Africans. You're deluded because the Europeans are people, the Americans are people. We are humans. We should love human beings first and then love the animals next. We should feed people first and then feed the animal. You find some animals belonging to multimillionaires and multi-billionaires. They wear designer clothes. They eat food worth tens of thousands of pounds per month. That is from the top of my head. It may not be the case because I haven't done a study on it. But I know a lot of rich people actually, I don't know what else they give to their pets. Maybe they buy mansions for their pets. That's crazy. It's a form of insanity. You don't do that. Looking after your animals, buying designer clothes, which is so costly. It can feed 10,000 African children for 1 month. You buy one clothes for your pet, or maybe your pet food. This is a form of abuse by multimillionaires and multi-billionaires. This is totally wrong, even including in Africa. There are Africans who buy private jets. You know, it's not wrong. It's not wrong to do that, but it is wrong to allow people to die of diseases, of hunger, of cold, of homelessness in slums in Africa. That is what I'm talking about. Benefit is evidence of poverty in the UK. If the UK people were out of poverty, the benefit system will chart today. Nobody wants benefit system. But you see, we have created an economy which is functioning in a certain specific way. The idea of benefit and employment are wrong. They're wrong concepts. for poverty reduction, poverty management, poverty eradication. Employment and benefits are the same in terms of how wrong they are. Everybody should be self-employed. You see, everybody should access technology independently. You don't have to be rich, but you have to access adequate material for yourself. And hopefully, if right people take over power, and they will at some point, I pray that they take over power sooner rather than later, because if technology develops, and technology with so much power like artificial intelligence, and if we land into the hand of evil people who are now, they are ravenous wolves in sheep cloth. They glitter from the outside. They are deeply rotten on the inside. And they have a lot of power. They are multimillionaires and multimillionaires. Don't get me wrong, if you are multimillionaire or multimillionaire thinking I'm talking about you, I'm not. I'm not talking about multimillionaires or multimillionaires. I'm talking about evil people, including poor people. They are some of the most evil people. The definition of evil means, because it doesn't mean we don't make mistakes. Evil means you don't care about people at all. You act a terrible hatred for people. That is why young people are shooting each other. They are killing each other because of hatred. You are holding a gun and a knife and say, I love you so much, and you stop somebody to death. Is that love? And when I talk about the truth, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. You stop somebody in the back and they die, and you say, hi, rest in peace, I love you so much, that's why I murdered you. That's why I'm talking. Psychopathy on the increase. Insanity on the increase. And that is the fruit of evil in society. This is what I'm talking about. And I'm not pointing a finger at any one person. But if you are sleeping, continue sleeping, because sleep is good for you. But there is coming a time when you have to wake up and start thinking about yourself. If you self-neglect, I don't make my bed all the time. I don't even make my bed sometimes. That is wrong. That's the beginning of neglecting my life. And that is wrong. Because if the more of that I do, the more evil I become. And the more of a terror I become to myself. I begin to develop a system of hatred for myself. That is an example of human wrong. That is the cultural failure which is happening now. That is why people are now behaving badly. Some of them behave worse than dogs or cats. Sometimes you are better off living with a dog or a cat other than a human being. And this is a poor survey, a horrible survey of your humanity. Our culture must change. The benefit system is evidence of human wrong. Employment is evidence of human wrong. Work is evidence of human right. Everybody should be a worker. Because if you work, you succeed. And ideally, you should be self-employed. Ideally, the government, if it is there, should be there to support you. The government has no purpose at all except to support citizens. If people are violent and they are violent, then we need national security. The police. I mean, if you think a robot is enough to replace humanity, then provide a system of welfare, provided we still don't have enough artificial intelligence, the machine, robotics, whatever you call the machine, not yet being able to produce enough wealth in terms of consumption, in terms of things you need, food, clothing, luxury things. Because the future, in my opinion, is about supply and demand provided by the machine, not in the commercial. I foresee the end of the economic age where demand and supply will stop. There will be access in the future. That is the direction of travel with technology, which is a good idea. But if we weaponize that because we are evil, then we are gone. The machine will actually make us extinct. Continue watching.
ni wanga nyono mi wa manyeno wa tuna yomi wanga poyoro wa manyeno wa tuna yomi apoyoro graduation wa tuna yomi no bere yo wanga wa mielo ni yen no bere yo no mani wa tuna yomi wanga mielo ya nyomo sina no tuna yomi wanga nyono mi morena wuru winning no morena wuru tining.
Thank you so much. So let us continue with this process. Let us go back. For goodness sake, let us go back to looking at limited capability to work related activity from the Department of Work and Pension, where they check which of the other prescriptors you match. If you don't get limited capability for work related activity, which means the Department of Work and Pension is saying you are not very sick, and if the descriptor has a number of points, there are points for each question you answer. I've already spoken about that. The more difficult you find that activity, the more points you might get. There are activity described, the subject of answering question, which are not a descriptor. You describe to the Department of Work person how you are in terms of your health, your wealth, and also your sickness or your disability. Then they will you will score a point in the process. For example, if this is say question 1, for example, you can't move more than 50 meters without help. That is the kind of question you may be asked. If you cannot move for more than 50 meters without help, you can get 15 points, which is cool. 100 meters or use 2 steps without help, you can get 9 points. So the more capable you are, the less point you get, the less money, the less prospect of you getting money. Because some limited capability for work related activity are automatic. If you fail to get it automatically, which we have discussed already elsewhere, then you will go through the points process. You will be checked whether you can get it or whether you get something limited capability for work or at all, or you get nothing. For example, if you can move more than 200 meters without help, you will get 0 points. That means you don't get anything. This is an example. This is a question 1. So the Department of Pension will add together all the points you get from the whole form. You have, remember, you have an application form called UC50 form. This means you don't have to get you don't have to get points for every question. Sometimes you lose, sometimes you gain. If you get at least 15 points from the whole form, you won't have to work. You will have to do things to prepare for work, such as training or writing a CV. This is called limited capability for work. I've already mentioned that several times in this process. So I'm only repeating them so that we put everything in perspective, because this program is segmented. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't subscribed. Leave a comment below, share with family and friends. You can also share with strangers. The more the merrier. I'm so excited that we are doing this. Thank you very much. And so let's go back to looking at this material. So if it's deep, it's more important to make sure you explain all the difficulties you have, so the Department of Work and Pension can decide if you have to work or prepare for work. You may have to work, you may not have to work, you may or may prepare for work. Most likely, if you are limited capability for work, then you have to prepare for work. If you are not sure how the Department of Work and Pension will assess the questions, you can talk to our advisor. Continue watching. Like I said, there are points and descriptors. There are separate lists of descriptors for limited capability for work and for limited capability for work related activity. For most questions, the limited capability for work related activity descriptor is the same as the limited capability for work descriptor that gets 15 points. You can find the descriptors under the heading for each question on this page. You can also check the full list of descriptors. The information is available on the form as you go through the process. Leave a comment below what your thoughts are. If you're lucky enough to watch this video, and I'm so happy you came. Continue watching. Thank you so much. Thank you. Continue watching. Like with any rule or policy, there are exceptions to the rule or policies. Limited capability or limited capability for work, related activity without meeting the descriptor. Sometimes people who are claiming may not be able to meet the descriptors requirements within the limited capability for work and limited capability for work related activity. And if they don't meet the descriptors, they might still get limited capability for work or limited capability for work related activity. If either there would be a risk to themselves or others if they didn't get limited capability for work or limited capability for work related activity. For example, they could pose risk while traveling to work or work related activity. These are some of the risks. And they may also have uncontrolled life-threatening disease. I mean, they are actually sick with this type of disease which is not controlled, either because they are not having treatment, or the treatment for that such a disease is not actually there. This information can be found out. You can find out what counts as a risk to health or uncontrolled diseases. There are information always you can find to support your understanding of what they're talking about. So we talk about different types of answers and questions. Like we have already said, we'll more or less be repeating some of these points. And talk, for example, about answer found in part 1, talking about the physical functions. Physical function, this section is on page 8 to 13 of the form. These forms are actually publicly available. You can actually access them and use them for training or for just doing your own research, or to help somebody you love or somebody you don't love, a friend or a stranger. It's not an offense to help strangers. So number 1, you're talking, for example, about moving around and using steps. If you're climbing or up or down, you use step. It's called mobility. So you usually need to use something to help you walk based on your answer. Base your answer on how you walk when you are using what you are using to walk. Say walking head or something like that. If you usually need to use something to help you walk, you can base your answer on how you walk when you're using such an equipment or device. These are detailed questions. If you use a manual wheelchair, base your answer on how you get around when you're using what you're using. Whatever equipment you may be using, like a wheelchair, a manual wheelchair. If you use an electric wheelchair, base your answer on how you would get around using an electric wheelchair. Very helpful information. How far you can move safely and repeatedly on level ground without needing to stop. So if they ask such a question, how far can you move with safely and repeatedly on level ground without needing to stop? You may face options of answers, including 50 meters, 100 meters, 200 meters. It's an optional sample question and answers. It's options which are found on the application form. How far you can move, maybe 50 meters, 100 meters, or 200 meters. You can decide what you want to decide. Thank you so much. Sometimes your condition is changeable, which means there are other times your body behaves in one way or the other. Your condition may be changeable in one way or the other. That may mean you do not have a situation. Sometimes you only walk maybe less than 50 meters. Sometimes maybe less than 100 meters or 200 meters. So it varies from time to time. You have to put that on the form. Normally you are encouraged to, it's okay if you don't know what to take straight away. Sometimes people are confused and they don't really know what to say in practical terms, what they might or might not be able to put in one place or another place. And you are advised not to really worry and try moving and see how far you get. You have to do some exercise. You have to really demonstrate to yourself. You have to really test yourself, move around and see what happens. I mean, if you're walking for 50 meters, you probably have to measure how much you walk for 50 meters. If you walk for 50 meters, it's about the length of 5 double-decker buses. If you know the buses, some people have learning disabilities, they don't even know how to estimate 5 double-decker buses. And if you live in London, in the UK, double-decker buses. So 5 meters is about 5 double-decker buses. Which means one double-decker bus is actually 1 meter long. So if you are intelligent enough, some people are so mentally challenged going to claim benefit, they might not even understand that. Continue watching. So we are still talking about mobility, moving around. You need to explain and learn also what to explain about moving around. It is important to tell the Department of Work and Pension more by explaining your situation in the box. The box is what you don't see here, but what you will see if you need help. If you need help for somebody else, or if you're just doing a research, go on gov.uk, you will find this information there. You should explain how long it usually takes you to move 50 meters, 100 meters and 200 meters or more. If you can't move those distances, you should explain that if moving causes you pain, and roughly how long for. If you're moving around, if you're physically unwell, it can cause you pain. You can still explain that. If it makes you tired, uncomfortable, or out of breath, these are some of the details, extremely important. Give you an idea of what goes on when you're sick and you're trying to claim benefit. This is the process you go through. If it makes you dizzy or unsteady on your feet, if you have fallen in the past, remember to say how often this happens and whether you needed someone else to help you to get up. Some of the details, if you would be able to move that distance again throughout the day. If you have good and bad days, and what the differences are. The differences are how you get around when you leave the house. If you can only move around within your home. Can you, sample question here, can you go up or down 2 steps without help from another person if there's a rail on hold to hold on to? Can you go up or down 2 steps without help from another person if there is a rail to hold on to? These are some of the questions. Yes, no, it varies. Your answer will determine how sick or how able or disabled you are in terms of mobility, in terms of moving around. Don't feel embarrassed about saying no. For example, if you should stick no, if you wouldn't be able to go up or down 2 steps, or it would leave you exhausted or in pain for the rest of the day, it is important for the Department of Work and Pension to know this. People have dignity. It is understandable. This information is expressing a sense of understanding how people feel about their infirmity, and it is a tragedy, a personal tragedy, also family, sometimes community and societal tragedy for somebody to be disabled or sick. But under these circumstances, you are actually made by the government to go through your condition. It might or it might not help, but because your purpose is to get help because you are a poor person. So the kind of thing you ought to explain about using steps, we talk about how you use steps. We talk about the kind of thing you talk about when you are talking about using steps. So using steps will cause you pain. You should explain it in the box. There is a box always. You take those boxes and explain into it how bad the pain would be. For example, so bad that you couldn't move. We talk about mobility. Movement is mobility. It relates to allowing the Department of Work and Pension to understand your condition, because the kind of payment, sometimes they can pay you the amount they pay relate to mobility, whether they pay the higher or the different rates or lower or upper rates. The nature of the pain, for example, throbbing, stomach pain or sharp pain. God forbid if you don't speak good English, how long you will be in pain for. For example, about 4 hours. These are online. This information are online, and the process of claiming universal credit is online, including actually filling out the form. You print out this form, either fill it out online and print it out, or print it out and fill it out. If you are actually physically limited, filling out the form when already printed or actually typing things will not be possible, and you might not get benefit, because if you cannot claim benefit, you won't get it. And if you can't find somebody to help, and there are challenges with resources, with advisory bodies which are there to help people, normally they fail helping people because of limited resources themselves, and families are busy, probably working, probably studying, probably they themselves wouldn't know how to deal with this complex form. This may or may not be my opinion. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about this situation. If you live in the UK, you're only human. If you live outside the United Kingdom, you are only human. We, as a species, have empathy. Sometimes we go beyond empathy to having sympathy, which is a good thing. So you consider what to say, what to answer, whether it would stop you doing anything else, and for how long. For example, you have to lie down for 20 minutes. These are details. If going up and down steps would make you tired or breathless, you should say how tired you would be. For example, whether you would need to sit or lie down, how long you would be tired for. You can estimate this, whether being tired would stop you doing other things, and how and for how long. I would affect the rest of your day. For example, you'd be too tired to walk to someone. How did the work the person gives points to this question is the subject of our discussion going forward. As the next step, continue watching. Thank you. Continue watching. Let us continue looking at how we stand, how we sit. Number 2, this question is about how your condition or disability affects whether you can change seats, sit or stand. Whether you can change seats, sit or stand. If you can you move from one seat to another right next to it without help from someone else. That is some of the question. That is a question about mobility as well. That is how you stand or sit, and these are specifics. You can answer it one way or the other. So the question is, can you move from one seat to another right next to to such a seat without help from someone else? The answer could be no, could be yes, could be it varies. These are repetitive, but there are different elements. The Department of Work and Pension to figure out how you are in terms of your sickness. So think about whether you would be able to sit in an adjustable office chair rather than an armchair or any other type of seat you would use at home. If you use a wheelchair, think about whether you need physical help getting from your wheelchair into a different seat or into the car. Don't feel embarrassed to take no. For example, if you need someone else to help you, or you lose your balance and fall over if someone didn't help you, these are helpful. You would struggle to move otherwise, to move seats more than once in a day without help from another person, perhaps because it would be uncomfortable, painful, leave you short of breath or tired. While you are standing or sitting, or a combination of the two, how long can you stay in one place and be pain free without the help of another person? And these are questions. The answers, it's optional, would be less than 30 minutes, 30 minutes to an hour. More than an hour, it varies. So this will help the Department of Work and Pensions to see how sick, and specifically in terms of mobility, standing or sitting. So you can think about when you are waiting for something like a bus or a doctor's appointment. Explain if you have to do things such as get up every 10 minutes to cope with the discomfort of sitting and standing. I try not to overstate how long you can stand, sit, or sit and stand for. Some people, when people are sick, they try to be positive, and they try to kind of like, they want to give you the impression that they are strong. They can, people are very positive by nature, and even if they are sick to the point of death, they can see. They don't want to really, do things, start up even if they are really sick, because that is in our nature. Sometimes when you do that, it confuses the Department of Work and Pension, and they think you are actually not sick enough, because the way the policy is designed is how it affects your life, and not really the sickness itself. And in my opinion, I've already said this, and I will defeat it. This complexity should be really changed, because if the doctor says a patient is sick, they are sick. And all this actually is just amazing that these laws can be set, which is really so daunting, even for the professionals. I mean, the last thing a professional wants to do is go to fill out a form, a UC50 form or a PIP form or any of the sickness form or any of the benefit form, or if you are claiming grants or benefit or housing benefit or whatever. It is so complicated, and it is online. If we are talking about computer, I mean, if you don't have a proper working computer, you won't even, you might not even be able to open the form online, because but although they can actually send you the form on in the post, and that may take a couple of days, and if you would miss the post, and that is another problem. So all these situations are actually getting out of control, because this should be a 1 or 2 page form to fill your name, personal details, and the condition you have at the Department of Work and Pension. Pick up the form, the telephone, phone the doctor or the health worker to provide an additional evidence that you are sick. That is enough. But the reason the government has given this complication is because the government doesn't want to give benefit to people. That is my opinion. And if you think I'm right, leave a comment below. If you think I'm wrong, leave a comment below. Because how can you say the benefit? When I talk about benefit, I'm talking about housing also, and I'll talk about the health care as well. Because the complication runs across the board. the board. If you are in debt, the access and debt advice, dealing with the creditor is so impossible. People go into debt because of poverty, because they cannot earn enough from work, they cannot earn enough from benefit. These are the two primary sources of income for people who are actually on low income. And I've said this before, I keep on saying it again. And if I see it in the United Kingdom, if I see it about benefit, I'm saying it about government policy on public sector, on welfare in the UK and across the globe. Pay attention to this. It's complex, but I have tried my best to use common language to really break this thing down. And I learn every day to deal with what is really complicated and talking about it in a normal language. And leave a comment below if you think I'm succeeding, if you think I'm failing. It's okay. I'm here to stay until I get whatever I'm doing perfectly. I'm not gonna leave. If YouTube channel is still there, I'll still be there, because you see, this is my classroom. Whether I'm a YouTuber or as an ordinary user, this is my classroom. So I've always been in my classroom. You want to go to learn something, go online. If you want to go on a website, or go and access YouTube. You can go to TikTok. I'm not sure about TikTok. You can go maybe to Instagram, but I think YouTube is really good because there are a lot of different things depending on what you're looking. You want to look at CNN, Bloomberg, CNBC. These are media outlets. You go and watch YouTube and get a lot of information there. There are also information on different things, different experience, things which are not actually published. You go live to anywhere in the world, maybe it's in a remote island in Bermuda, or Rwanda, Burundi, or in Africa, Asia, wherever. You can travel the world with YouTube and with social media generally, but YouTube, I think, in my opinion, is the best. So far, you comment below if you think so. If you don't think so, thank you so much. And I have a feeling, let me just go through this quickly and conclude it. You should try not to overestimate how long you can stand, sit or sit and stand, like I said. And for example, if you are sitting on a chair at home, you might need to stand up after a few minutes, but not notice how often you are doing. If you are doing it, don't feel embarrassed if you have to stick to take less than 30 minutes. For example, if you can't stand for that length of time unless you have 2 sticks or crutches, and you also can't sit for 30 minutes. And after 30 minutes, you will be in pain, but you don't force yourself through it. And you can also explain other things, what to explain about standing or sitting. You have always, this is mobility, like I said, involving standing or sitting. And the sickness benefit, like I said, also is how the sickness affects you other than the sickness itself. So it is important to tell the Department of Work and Pension more about explaining your situation in the box. You should explain things like, if it is difficult for you to change from standing up to sitting down, or from sitting to standing, and what makes it difficult for you. I mean, this is good to know, because sometimes if you're sick, you can't really realize that your life, your body is divided into different functionalities. So if you would need to do something after sitting or standing for too long, for example, relieve the pain by lying down. What problems you have when you sit or stand for too long, such as feeling sick, tiredness, trouble breathing, muscle pain or joint pains. Why you have problems, for example, your bad back makes it hard to balance, whether there are positions you can't sit in because they cause you pain, and how the part of work person give points for question 2. And these are actually some of the things you're looking at, and these are repeatable in terms of structure, but the elements might be different. and it is a good exercise. If you have a bit of time, you can go on to the government website and make sure you look and do a bit of study. Knowledge is power. We live in a knowledge economy. The Department of Work and Pension will check which of these descriptors matches your answer. If you meet descriptors 2A, you'll get limited capability for work related activity. If you meet one of the other descriptors, the Department of Work and Pension will have your points from the whole form to decide if you can get limited capability for work. Remember, I said limited capability for work related activities when you are sicker than when you are limited capability for work. The sicker you are, the more money you might get, the more points you also get. Descriptors to and points relating to point number 2, sitting down and also standing up. In terms of mobility, 2A cannot move between one seated position and another seated position located next to one another without receiving physical assistance from another person. You cannot do that, and you get 15 points. It means you are very limited indeed in terms of capability, in terms of mobility. Also, 2B cannot, for the majority of the time, remain at a workstation, either one standing and unassisted by another person, even if free to move around, or 2 sitting, even in an adjustable chair, or 3 combination of 1 and 2 for more than 30 minutes before needing to move away in order to avoid significant discomfort or exhaustion. You get 9 points there. Number C cannot for the majority of time remain at a workstation, either while standing unassisted by another person, even if free to move around, or 2 sitting even in an adjustable chair, or 3 a combination of 1 and 2. For example, for more than 30 hours, for more than an hour before needing to move away in order to avoid significant discomfort or exhaustion. You get 6 points there. And we're looking at D, none of the above, you get 0 points. We are talking about reaching, which we are going to continue next time we meet. Thank you so much, and subscribe to my channel. Click like, click notification bell if you haven't subscribed. Share with family and friends. Thank you so much. See you in the next one. Thank you. Bye bye. When you beat a drum, but buy your conya.